You know, sometimes a photo says way more than 1,000 words. I think you would find it very difficult to find a story that demonstrates the cowardice, the incompetence, and the outright murderous hearts of members of a police department than this one right here. This is a freeze frame of Victor Perez just seconds before these law enforcement agents unleash a barrage of gunfire, hitting him 9 times, ending his life. Victor Perez is an autistic, nonverbal teenage boy with cerebral palsy. There was a phone call that said some drunk guy staggering is chasing somebody around in the street with a knife. Turns out he wasn't drunk. He's got serious mental issues, serious physical issues. And the Pocatello, Idaho Police Department responds to the call. We're going to take a look at 2 segments right here. But I want you to notice there is a barrier between Victor and 4 law enforcement agents who are supposed to be highly trained, highly skilled, and they're supposed to possess de-escalation techniques. None of that skill, none of that training, none of that de-escalation was employed. They just decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. Let's look at this first one right here, and then we'll look at the second story.
An Idaho police department is facing backlash after the shooting of a 17-year-old wielding a knife. Victor Perez, who is living with autism and has cerebral palsy, is fighting for his life right now in the hospital after being shot 9 times, according to his family. CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez is following the investigation, which has just begun. Andres, this sounds so strange. What happened?
Well, Errol, right now, police aren't saying much, and that is upsetting the community out here. They did held a brief news conference on Monday in which they said that on Saturday afternoon, the Pocatello Police Department received a call of a fight outside this home, an intoxicated individual holding a knife. However, the family of 17-year-old Victor Perez says that he is nonverbal, he's autistic, and wasn't threatening anyone. All they were trying to do is get that knife out of his hand. However, in that video that has now gone viral, you could see the officers showing up. They lined themselves up around this steel fence here. Perez on the opposite side there on the ground. As soon as he starts standing up and heading towards officers unleash their gunfire 9 times. In a statement, the Pocatello Police Department said that we understand the concern and emotion surrounding the officer-involved shooting that occurred. We are also aware of the video circulating online, which only shows one angle. The full picture requires careful review of all the facts and evidence.
Now, isn't that typical? That's a typical statement of a police department who's ready, willing, and able to pass the buck. Even if there was no fence, they could easily outrun this kid. They could back up. They could deploy a taser. They have the beanbag option. They could employ any level of training to subdue this kid, get the knife out of his hand, make sure that he's safe, unharmed. Not only that, there were family members. You'll see this in the next story. There were family members inside the gate that were pulling on his shirt while he had the knife in his hand. So they didn't have a Kevlar vest on. They didn't have police training. They didn't have any of the tools that cops have, and they weren't shooting him. They were just trying to subdue him. How much more could a cop do that? De-escalate, employ the techniques that you've been trained on, supposedly, and bring this kid down safely.
We have put in a request to do a sit-down interview with the police chief to understand the scope of their investigation and the circumstances of what happened here, but we still haven't heard back from him yet.
And Andres, what sounds so jarring about this is he allegedly had a knife. They responded by shooting 9 times.
Allegedly, you can see from the video, I hate when news organizations do this. Allegedly, you have the video evidence. He had a knife. He was in his yard. The parents and the family members were trying to talk him down. The cops did arrive. They didn't allegedly have guns. They didn't allegedly shoot him. They shot him.
There is such a thing as non-lethal force that police can use in these situations. I'm sure that's among the many questions that the community has and the family of this young man as well.
It certainly is. In fact, that is one of the big questions that the community has. Why couldn't they use beanbag rounds? Why couldn't they have used a taser in this case? Could they have taken the time to assess the situation? Those officers only took 12 seconds from the moment that they got out of their vehicles to the time they lined up to open fire on this teenager. So a lot of questions surrounding,
no attempt at de-escalation. 12 seconds from the time they got out of the car to the time till they shot him dead. He died in the hospital later, but he's dead.
What could have been done in hindsight? Those have obviously that's all part of the investigation. Right now, the priority for the family, of course, is the well-being of Victor. He's currently at the hospital, still remains in a coma. They had to amputate his left leg because of the injuries he sustained here. The community is
This is an older story because at this time he was still alive. He's not alive anymore.
Around the family, they're holding a candlelight vigil for him as well as a fundraiser this Saturday outside the hospital. They have also been calling for accountability. They held a protest outside the police station on Sunday, and then his aunt told us this.
I know the position of the police, but only one can at least stop him. If you have to shoot, okay, only one. But what the heck, what was that? 9 bullets. They took 9 bullets out of that kid.
Okay, again, this is the Pocatello Police Department in Idaho. Here's the second story. This is a more updated story from an hour ago.
The death of a teen with autism in Idaho a week after he
This
was
is where we're going to see the actual footage.
shot by police. The teen's family making the difficult decision to take him off life support Saturday. ABC's Zareen Shaw joins us with what the family would now like to see happen next. Zareen, good morning.
Good morning, Janae. The family told us they are looking for justice. For them, they say that means seeing the officers involved either fired or in jail. All of this coming as the Perez family said goodbye to Victor.
How about fired and in jail and assets liquidated, including the pension, and given to the family?
This morning, an investigation into how multiple Idaho police officers shot a teenager with autism still...
Look, here is a family member inside the fence while Victor has a knife in his hand holding him back. She was able to do it without police training, without a bulletproof vest, without equipment.
...underway after his family said their final goodbyes to Victor Perez. Supporters asking for justice at vigils over the weekend.
It could have been any one of our kids, and no kid should have had to go through what they went through.
The family of the 17-year-old says Perez had been taken off life support after doctors determined he'd been left brain dead after that shooting. The controversial incident happened during a barbecue last week. A witness calling police and reporting what they described as an escalating incident. Watch as police arrive. They command the teenager to drop the knife. Moments later, as Perez walks towards them, police start shooting from the other side of the fence, sending him to the hospital.
Let me just
to drop the knife.
Back this up.
Moments later, as Perez walks towards them, police start shooting from the other side of the fence.
Backing up wasn't an option. You could easily, not only that, as they're firing their weapons, there are family members behind Victor,
sending him to the hospital.
Wait till you see what this police chief says.
In situations like this, officers must make decisions in seconds. They assess threats, not just to themselves, but to those nearby. In this case, 2 individuals were within a few feet of an armed, non-compliant individual. The risk was immediate and the situation rapidly evolving.
The family saying they want this image shown after doctors amputated Perez's leg while trying to save him.
No other option. We had to shoot him. We were in fear for our safety, of course. That's a default setting right there. But hey, we were doing it for the safety of everybody who was inside that fence. Had to be done. Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be us.
I just want answers. Why with my nephew they used shoot to kill, because that's what they did.
Protests erupting in Pocatello after the video of this incident went viral. The father and son that called 911 apologizing to the Perez family.
I had no idea this would happen. I'm so sorry.
And the mayor says an investigation into the incident is underway. As for police body camera footage, officials have not yet provided a timeline as to when or if it will be released.
No situation can be so bad that it can't be made worse with the arrival of law enforcement. Again, this is the Pocatello Police Department. Currently, they have not deactivated comments, so you're able to comment, and believe me, there are a lot of people weighing in on this incident right here. There are a lot of upset people submitting their thoughts and their comments. So I will leave the link to the Pocatello Police Department Facebook page in the description and in the pinned comment. If you don't see it in the pinned comment, it will be in the description, because my pinned comments and a lot of my comments, just like a lot of your comments, disappear. So leave your thoughts about this. Like this video, share this video with everybody you know. This is a perfect example. This is a picture perfect example that clearly demonstrates the cowardice, incompetence, and murderous hearts of law enforcement officials. I'll see you in the next video.